So with all that, you want me to be in retirement? No, I can't. Because PF is what brought me here. And I think I will not die a peaceful death if I was to die today without restoring PF to what it is.
Let us not degrade ourselves by name-calling or insults. We need to campaign peacefully and uphold the dignity of each and every citizen. We are all human beings. When we don't have materials for campaign, let us not insult. Those who insult and refer to name-calling, that's not what the church desires. The church desires that we uphold the dignity in which God created all of us. So this is what the church stands for and prays for. Especially as we go towards the 10th August, let us be sober-minded and filled with peace and love. May God give you peace, all of us, as we continue to cherish the unity of our country, Zambia. Thank you. May we receive the blessing. The Lord be with you.
Today marks exactly 1 year since former President Edgar Chagwa Lungu closed his eyes for the last time in South Africa. Yet 12 months later, the former head of state remains unburied. His remains lie cold while a heated, protracted legal and political standoff continues to play out in the full glare of the public. For many Zambians, this circumstance has moved beyond a tragedy. It has become a source of profound bewilderment, deep sadness, and national embarrassment. As the country commemorates the first memorial anniversary of Mr. Lungu's passing, we must ask ourselves, how did we get here? Perhaps it is time to pause and reflect not on who is winning or who is losing, the various bitter battles surrounding the final resting place, but on what Zambia must learn from this deeply unfortunate chapter in our lives. Recently, Patriotic Front Vice President Given Lubinda made remarks that demand our serious consideration. He argued that there is little purpose in continuing the legal contest over the burial of the former president now that the principal source of disagreement has been resolved. If the core dispute is cleared, why does the stalemate persist? Who stands to benefit from keeping a former head of state unburied? Joining me to dissect this national issue is Mabvuto Phiri, resident analyst here at Crown Television. Mabvuto, good afternoon and welcome to Conversations at 1.
Good afternoon, Said.
It's the 5th day of June. On a day like this one, Crown TV around this time was sharing news to the public of the passing of Zambia's former president, Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Today is his memorial. Various organizations have come together, including some of his supporters, to honor him and family as well, to remember him. There were messages also that were released yesterday by some church mother bodies, the EFZ and the CCZ, that said that they were not going to be a part of this memorial service because their plea is to both parties involved to ensure that they first bury the former president. But what do you make of today for a country like Zambia?
Firstly, I think you and me, as we begin to speak about this, is to keep a moment of silence and begin to reflect on certain aspects of life. Because you have to imagine if it was you or me in this particular situation. Firstly, it's sad for this country that despite our politics, even in death, we can't come together to be able to unite. And I like the submission by Honorable Lubinda, who said, if the major contention in terms of not having the presence of the president at this particular funeral was resolved, why are we still where we are? Sadly so, maybe, I'm speculating and allow me to do so. Maybe others have wanted to be able to use this moment to prepare or propel their own political aspirations. Because truly, if people are genuine, people should have sat down and resolve the outstanding issues. People went to court, and the argument is the same said. No matter how you look at which side of the coin, there is what we are calling family interest, but there is also what we are calling national interest. Between the two, what supersedes what? There is where we have to agree, and we've agreed. And obviously, the government has given in to the demands of the family. And those that were closer to President Lungu that President Hichilema should not attend, and they've said there's no problem, let's proceed and bury. But to realize that a year after, the President Lungu is still in the morgue, in the freezer, and he has not been buried, it's not only unfair to his family, but to the rest of us as citizens of this country, having given him an opportunity to be able to govern this country for a period of 7 years as president. Beforehand, he was a minister, he was a member of parliament, and he was a member of our community. So not to have buried President Lungu, I think for me, it's a very sad development for this country, and I'm hoping that we should be quicker in terms of dealing with this situation. You can see, said, from the pictures, from the discussions, that even those that were close to him, despite their arrogance not to proceed in terms of resolving this burial impasse, they've moved on. Some of them, we are seeing them actively involved in the campaigns. Therefore, you ask yourself, where is the morality that today, if my brother is not around, or my father is not around, or my sister is not around, then I can go out there to go and campaign. Mwalishitapo campaign na malilo. Basaid. Oh, we shall with some fridge. Badi fwa. Iwole fwa ukawe president. And that's when you're telling people, eponka shika batata. They rotate timba shike batata because I've got these issues to resolve. No. We need to be able to move together as a united country. If a challenge has befallen us, let's hold. We've seen with the death of Paramount Mpezeni how Zambians have been able to hold together because, said, despite the differences, people should be able to come together in terms of remembering the legacy of the deceased. Unlike what we are seeing with President Lungu, and I've said it over time. Luke said when he died, that church used to be full. Today, you can tell that the people that attended that particular service were just members of a certain political party. And we could see, even on the holy grounds of the church, people were flashing symbols. Where is the morality? Where is integrity among the Zambian citizens or among our political leaders not to use a dead person to be able to conduct their political activities? Sorry to say that I feel that, and I can once say it, that this behavior one day in the past, it will really backfire on those that have. This is literally abuse of a dead person. This is abuse, said. You can't go to church and say, we're going to hold a service in a zona. You walk out of the church, you're flashing symbols. It's unfair. So I agree with Wolubinda that if that issue was resolved, the parties involved, the family and the state should be able to sit together and look at the possibility of bringing closure to this. Otherwise, we're eating into the very legacy of President Kalunga.
Beyond the politics, Mabvuto, and the law, there is a human, element, and also there is a national conscience to consider. An unburied president for over a year says something about a country. What does this say about Zambia's political culture? But also, what does it say about our values and the precedent?
Obviously, our political aspirations are eating into the very iota or existence of this country. And said, this is what I've always said, despite political differences, we are one. And we should have used this solemn moment to be able to consolidate our national unity, patriotism, and integrity. But what we've seen in the last 1 year is literally abuse of a dead person in the freezer to be able to earn political mileage. Like I've stated, without shame, that said, how do people even find the strength to move, to go and campaign when the person who was your superior, who was your boss, who was your supervisor, still remains in the morgue? I think said, for me, this transcends beyond the political standing of this country, but looking into our inner self as a country. Because over the years, what we've propagated in this country is unity of purpose. And obviously, with this, we should have been able to consolidate that. But if we consolidated it, your guess is as good as mine. And it's very sad that others are trying to make this as political marriage as possible. So you win next elections. What happens? We should be able to resolve this, because said I can assure you that prospective generations of this country will laugh at us. They wonder why there was arrogancy in terms of resolving this issue. The people in government are Zambians. The family are Zambians. And it would have even said taken the case to a foreign court. It speaks to a lot of things. That those who've done so don't love this country. If they did love this country, they should have been the first to defend the integrity, the existence of this country based on what it is premised on, unity. Nothing else. I've always said, when you are traveling at the airport, today if you went to Kenneth Kaunda Airport, on your passport, it is written you are a Zambian. Regardless of what has happened, President Lungu is a Zambian. The differences that were there between him and predecessor, these are political differences. These are differences that can be resolved. So you've seen even in these elections, people that never looked eye for an eye, today are in unity. But why have we failed as a country to be able to utilize and show to the world that we can have political differences, but we remain one people? It's a sad development said. When I look at 1 year on of President Lungu not being buried, it really breaks my heart. Yes.
Mabvuto, looking forward, if we are to go by the statement that has been attributed to Mr. Lubinga,
Yes.
what is the roadmap out of this crisis?
Obviously, we are still waiting for the outcome of the court. But said, courts are, yes, one party will win, the other party, that division will continue. What is key, even beyond the court judgment, is for people to sit and ask them. And then I remember one of the faces at the forefront of this was Honorable Lubin himself. And apart from issuing commentary in the newspaper, what I would have opted was that he had established a team to be able to relook at how best we can be able to resolve this issue. Commentary, yes, even me, I can comment. But by the end of the day, we should be able to say we are Zambians, and this is a team we've put up of elders within the file and structure of the PF, and this is how we are going to resolve this issue. Commentary, anybody can issue that comment. There's nothing unique about it. And it's only now that he's saying it, maybe because he's out of the file and rank of the PF. Because I don't believe that this was his language previously. You remember even when most members of the PF were in South Africa, the kind of comments they were issuing as if they were not Zambians. Said it's a moment for a country to sit and introspect. I've always appealed to the conscience of our, not only our traditional leaders, but also our church leaders. How is it possible that you have a church this side, you have the traditional leadership this side, failing to resolve these issues? We remember the intervention of the church. Even the democracy we enjoy today, said, came at the instigation of the church. They sat with leaders and agreed that after 27 years of Dr. Kaunda, there should be elections. But why is it that the church of today is failing to resolve these issues? Is it because of the symbols, for instance, we saw today at the Chawama Catholic Church? The church itself should be able to conduct an introspection of itself, self-awareness and assessment in terms of how they've behaved in terms of national issues. Because this failure to be able to deal with this situation is concerning. And it's troubling, to say the least. Because why can't we just for a moment and sit eye for an eye and have an open conversation about things affecting us? And I don't think the South African court is the ultimate alpha and omega. No. Yes, tomorrow the decision might go this side, the decision might go this side. But by the end of the day, will those that were involved in this particular matter look at each other? Will they smile and laugh? Your case is as good as mine.
If we're to go by two church mother bodies yesterday that issued statements and instructed, if at all those statements that were released are authentic, we've been trying to get that information.
They are authentic. I think I received one official statement myself yesterday.
Their call was that they're calling on their members to not be a part of this arrangement, especially because the body is not buried. So it is.
It's very clear. The Bible is very clear. Give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Give God what belongs to God. Therefore, if this issue remains unresolved, it is also the responsibility of the church to respect the decision of the government of the day. So for me, there's nothing peculiar. But obviously, other churches like my church, the Catholic, who opt to be political. And that's why we see that people can stand outside the church and begin to raise symbols, which is unfortunate for me. And today, those politicians will be very happy to say their objective has been achieved. The death of President Lungu doesn't belong to one section of society. This is the resolution of this particular matter is a collective responsibility of all Zambians. You, me, and if there's no settlement, all of us should be able to stand up and say, why is there no settlement? And obviously the two church mother bodies should be commended for the decision they've taken.
How would you have rather the church handled this particular day? Should they have been quiet and not remembered one of their own? What should they have done?
They should have been quiet until the matter is resolved. That's what my hope is. We were told, I think the other month, I think it was last month, when the Reformed Church indicated to us, and they were holding their own news conference at Kapingila, which belongs to the Catholic Church. And they indicated that they were part of the discussion to be able to resolve this. So why would they spring up and say, no, tomorrow we're hosting these prayers, even when there are discussions in the background? And we are aware, one of the family representatives in terms of this conversation is Bishop Eric Banda. So actually the Catholic Church, beyond him, should have provided us with an answer in terms of moving and resolving this thing. And if it was resolved, I don't think that church would have even been enough. I think the only people that attended that service are members of a named political party.
Let's have a look at what the statement, was saying. This is a statement attributed to EFZ. We'll have it on screen in a few minutes. Now, this one says, following consultations by EFZ leadership and recent engagements with organizers and of the proposed national, memorial activities, we wish to reaffirm the fellowship's position that no EFZ structures, affiliates, provincial fellowships, or member churches should organize, endorse, facilitate, or participate in such memorial events at this stage. Our position is guided by the conviction that it is both morally inappropriate and premature to hold national memorial observances before the burial of the deceased has taken place. We have communicated this position clearly and respectfully to parties concerned. It goes on to say EFZ further takes exception at any event being presented as being organized, sponsored, or powered by the Church or the body of Christ without broad consultation, consensus, and authorization from recognized church or other bodies. Such representations are potentially misleading and do not reflect the collective position of the church. According to EFZ, affiliates and church leaders are requested to refrain from associating themselves with such initiatives and to communicate this guidance within the respective networks. Notwithstanding the foregoing, EFZ continues to stand in prayer with the bereaved family and the nation. We remain actively, earnestly engaged together with both the family and the government in encouraging every effort that can facilitate a dignified burial for our late sixth Republican President. It is our sincere hope that this matter will be brought to respectful and honorable closure well before the forthcoming elections for the healing of the family and for the unity of the nation. This has been signed by Reverend Alan Kasungami, the Executive Director of the EFZ. This, Mabvuto, is what the statement, is saying.
And you see, said, personally, I'm Catholic, and this is what I'll tell you. If there's one church that has the strict traditions and customs, it's a Catholic church. You can be blessed today in the Catholic Church or baptized in the Catholic Church today. But as long as you don't pay, for instance, said tithe, this, if you die, said, you as an ordinary member, and I'm hoping this what we are seeing with President Lungu is being done to ordinary members of the church. Because when you die, mukatolika bayama, kata mwali lipiro mtulo, olo mwali bali misarika. Yama, your body will never be in church. The Catholic churches, but it makes me wonder, and I've been asking myself for guidance. If there's a strict church in terms of customs and tradition, the Catholics are. Most of us said, matibali bapatisha mu church. Bali lipiro mtulo. Tetibengire mu church. And the church will be closed. But what I see today in terms of, I don't want to attack my church openly, but I have no choice. Yes, he was a president. Was he a baptized member of the church? That I don't want to open another discussion. So I ask myself, where is this all interest? We've just turned up to be political and forgotten about the traditions and customs that all of us should go to politics to be able to have easy access into the church. And as I told you, I commend the two churches. I commend the two churches. It's up to the church whether they've chosen who to support, who to defend. It's up to the church. But every day I sit and shudder at the thought that the Catholic Church has a wider membership set. Kwali baba UPND ni bakatolika. Kwali baba UNIP ni bakatolika. Nekuwaisa na wa PF ni bakatolika. Are you treating them the same way like everybody else? Your guess is as good as mine.
All right, let me get into our inbox quickly and look at what viewers are saying concerning this particular story. And then on the other side, we have a special interview coming up. So do make sure that you don't move an inch because we are going to be getting into that interview in a very short while. Good afternoon. Can there be memorial service before unveiling the tombstone? Can the tombstone be unveiled before burial or cremation? Can burial or cremation take place without first seeing the corpse or ashes? But where are the results of the inquest and the forensic investigations into the poisoning allegations by Nakachinda and Dr. Kanisha Spanda? This is coming from Sidilo Maswabi of Mongu. Thank you very much for that contribution. Let's look at the next message this afternoon. To the family, what's more dignified, burying at home or burying in foreign land? Don't trust a politician who is not head of state to believe they can bury him when they form government. We have seen politicians retire without becoming presidents. Never twist government, never. Kwanu ni kwanu. This is from MM in Lusaka. Let's have a look at another message that is in our inbox this afternoon. Mwebantushua, how do you keep the body for 1 year because of politics? They are not serious. This is K from Kasama. All right. Who are you referring to? K. All right, let's have a look at another message. Good afternoon, Crown TV. This is now confusing. Mwe? How can a memorial service be held before burial of the deceased? In my tradition, we bury the dead first. That's when we consider that Madiloya Sila. That's when we can start thinking about memorials. What does this mean to us, Zambians? Please guide. In Zambia, is Zambia still mourning ECL or Yanasira Madilo? Pamanje ni memorials chabe. VJ from Katete. All right, let's look at another message. Good afternoon, Nkhonjera. Nchintu nchamene ninga kambe koine basiye ni bafamily bachiteza mene bafuna chifukwa venze kuyambana na bakainde hichilema venze ma enemies. So bakainde hichilema bachokepo basawame pamene bana mwalila pamene benze moyo benze kubavutisa ba UPND bavuteko bakazi mu makoti bavuteko bana right after death kudala bina. Mavuto from Lusaka. All right, thank you very much, Mavuto, for that message. I think we get the context of what you are trying to say. The fact that former President ECL has passed away and still remains unburied is a troubling sign that politics can be not only divisive but dangerous for the country. I must be honest, ECL remains unburied due to nothing other than politics. All right, so let's have a look at another message if we can. The same people who preach peace, love, and reconciliation are the ones at the forefront ensuring that the mortal remains of our former president or head of state are still in the mortuary. This is why I often say that as it stands, Christianity as practiced today feels hollow because the very bishops who should mediate have failed to reconcile the government and the Lungu family. There is too much pretense in some churches today. As a country, we can and must do better. Yami Pako Chinyemba, Bashkulu from Luangwa, Feira, and Mitete district. Thank you very much for that contribution. An eye for an eye made the whole world blind. PK from Kitwe. All right, thank you very much for those messages. Because we have an interview coming up, Mavuto, this is where you and I part ways. What is your concluding remark, hopefully under 30 seconds?
It's difficult to even conclude, Said. It's difficult. I'm just hoping that we'll not meet here again after 12 months to be talking about these things. But my appeal is to those that are abusing President Lungu in the morgue, because said the protracted impasse over his burial is simply an abuse. I know both parties have got interest, but we should be able to look at the bigger interest. And for me, the bigger interest is national interest. You can't claim to harbor family interest and call yourself patriotic. You can't separate yourself from your country. That is my appeal. And sadly, that others are trying to step up their political aspirations using a freezing body. It's inhuman. It's un-Zambian. And I hope one day, even where they are, they're easily eating, forgetting that somebody who supervised them is still in the morgue. What is love? What is love?
Mabvuto, thank you very much for
You're punishing. Yes, it's your personal decision, your family decision, but you're punishing an entire country. There was at one point, obviously, the spirit of President Lungu and of the nation were together. You can't separate them. What is key is to have introspection and think through life. To the churches, let not you be platforms of division and confusion. Show unity. If a service was held today, how is it impossible to convince a family to say, can we bury him here? And today we should have been celebrating. All of us as Zambians. The key responsibility for 7 years he was president. His message was unity, unity, unity. Therefore, why can a man who propagated and solicited for our support to ensure that this country is united becomes a point and a platform of divisions? Therefore, I appeal to the conscience of each one of you, inclusive of you yourself, to sit and introspect whether this belongs to the future or one day we'll proudly walk and say we are a united country. Even when we failed to stand together to be able to defend the legacy of one Edgar Chagwa Lungu. There's no victory for anyone. Whether there will be a judgment out of this African court, this thing would have left permanent wounds, not only on you and me, but even generations to come, because they will look at each other and never trust each other. I can only ask God to forgive us, as we don't know what we are doing. And I hope one day there will be guidance.
All right, Mabvuto Phiri, thank you very much for your insights. You're watching Conversations at 1. We're going to be going for a short break, and then on the other side, we continue with Conversations at 1. This time around, we're looking at a totally different topic. So join us right after this.
The last 4 years, the Engineering Institution of Zambia has been mentored by EXA of South Africa to get accreditation to the International Engineering Alliance. And earlier this January, EIZ made the application, and next week the institution is going to defend it during the International Engineering Alliance annual general meetings, which is going to be held in Cape Town, South Africa. This is a very exciting period for us, because what this means is that once Zambia gets full accreditation to the International Engineering Alliance, the country is going to have engineering standards that will be substantially equivalent to those of leading economies. It's going to get the country recognized and also have the engineering standards that Zambia has been producing respected. So what Zambia is pursuing right now is the Washington Accord for Engineers, and later pursue the the Sydney Accord for Technologists, then the Dublin Accord for technicians and craftspersons. Once this is achieved, it means that it's going to Zambia is going to attract foreign direct investments. Multinational corporations and investors want to invest in a country where the engineering standards are high. So being part of the International Engineering Alliance is going to enhance the country's competitiveness, and it's going to be attractive to the investors. And additionally, this is going to enable all engineering practitioners in the country to be able to practice anywhere across the globe without being re-evaluated.
All right, thank you very much for staying tuned to Crown Television. This is Conversations at One. Now, in an increasingly globalized economy, the strength of a nation's infrastructure and the competitiveness of its industries rests squarely on the shoulders of its engineers. But for decades, a persistent barrier has remained. How do we ensure that a degree earned in Lusaka, carries the exact same weight, prestige, and professional trust as one earned in London, Sydney, or New York? Next week, Zambia stands on the precipice of a historical milestone and could change the landscape of our local engineering forever. From June 8th to the 12th in Cape Town, South Africa, the Engineering Institution of Zambia will step onto the global stage to defend our nation's application for admission into the prestigious International Engineering Alliance and secure signatory status under the Washington Accord. Joining me in studio is Ntalasha Mutale, the Head of Public Relations at EIZ. Ntalasha, it's good to have you join us in studio this afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, let's get right into it. Zambia, through the Engineering Institution of Zambia, is set, to defend its application to get accreditation to the International Engineering Alliance next week in Cape Town. For the benefit of our viewers watching us this afternoon across the country, can you tell us more about what this alliance is and why this trip to South Africa is so official?
Okay. So the International Engineering Alliance is a global non-profit organization that has about 45 member states, and it is being created under 7 international agreements. So these 7 international agreements govern the recognition of the engineering standards in education and professional competence. So what Zambia is been working for the last 4 years to achieve is to get accreditation through 3 accords. That's the Washington Accord, the Sydney Accord, and the Dublin Accord. Once we get this recognition, like South Africa is the only country right now that has got full signatory. And there are other countries like Egypt and many other countries that are also have provisional licenses, and they're trying to get full signatories like we are trying to do. Before I go into what this defense is all about, maybe I can just talk about these 3 accords that I've talked about. So the Washington Accord and the Sydney Accord and the Dublin Accord have been divided. First, the Washington Accord is for engineers, then the Sydney Accord is for technologists, then there's a Dublin Accord, which is for craftspersons and technicians. So these cover the whole broad spectrum of engineering in the world. And for Zambia, we are trying to get signatory to all 3.
Yeah.
For the last 4 years, we've been mentored by the Engineering Council of South Africa to make certain changes to achieve this. The 45 member countries that I mentioned earlier have established and enforced some benchmarking standards so that the engineering education and in universities and also the professional competence in industry are within a certain standard that is acceptable for a country to be allowed to be accepted and get accreditation. And that is what Zambia is been working to do through the EIZ. January this year, we made an application, and the application was accepted. And now, next week in Cape Town, we're going to defend this application. This is huge. And what is required, or what this defense entails, is that we're going to demonstrate or prove, before these 45 member countries, the changes that we have made in the education system. We're talking about the comprehensive reforms and defined curriculum, defined attributes, certain defined attributes in the curriculum, of course, with partnership with with other stakeholders like the Higher Education Authority, the universities, and before these member countries were expected to prove that we've made these reforms.
When you talk of, defending, are you, especially to 45 member countries, what is expected of EIZ in South Africa? Are you going to be presenting something? What is this defense going to look like?
Yeah, so yes, so it's going to be a presentation, and like you rightly put, it's going to be on stage, and then so we're up there, we're talking, we're proving to the member countries what we have done. So these internationally set standards have provisions of what we're expected to do for us to be able to be considered to get the Washington Accord, which one to get first for the engineers. So we've had a pilot program where we engaged 3 universities. That's the University of Zambia, Copperbelt University, and Mulungushi University, that have been upgrading the curriculum, making changes of the courses, the programs, and also ensuring that the students that they are producing are industry ready. And this is what one of the prerequisites that has been required to even apply for the International Engineering Alliance, and further to even be accepted, accepting the submissions. And through our defense, we should be able to prove before these member countries that indeed we've been making these changes, we've been making these reforms, and also we've been providing continuous professional development for some of our members that are already in the industry, so that we can raise our standards of education and catch up with the leading economies that are already members.
I like the fact that you've gotten to the economy, especially because I would love us to talk about the macroeconomic picture. When we look at the full accreditation to the IEA, the International Engineering Association, starting with the Washington Accord. What does this mean for Zambia as a country when it comes to, investor confidence, foreign direct investment, and also the standing at regional level for the country?
I must say, this is a great milestone. It's huge, and, Zambia might just be the second country in Africa to get this accreditation at the pace that we're moving. Yes, that's right. After South Africa, like I said, others have got provisional licenses. This is going to place Zambia on the global map, obviously. It's going what this accreditation will say, Zambia has got a trusted source of engineering works, giving confidence to the international labor market and the procuring entities. It's going to attract foreign direct investments. Multinational corporations and investors want to invest in a country where the engineering standards are world class. So it's going to enhance competitiveness, and it's also going to raise the engineering profile for the country. You notice that sometimes we have investors that come with their own skills and engineering expertise, but this is going to bring that to an end, because our own engineering skills are going to be recognized globally. So even when an investor comes, they'll know that the engineering standards are good. I don't need to bring my own people, but I'll find the expertise right there in Zambia, because all they have to do is to check and see that it's part of the IEA. And then the engineering professionals that will be able to practice abroad will be able to get experience and bring back that world-class expertise, to Zambia, catching up with the latest technologies. These days we're going AI. Technology is evolving at a very fast pace. And being part of the IEA will enable us to integrate some of the things that our colleagues in other countries are already doing that we might not be doing. Instead of doing logarithms that probably were being done in the curriculum a long time ago, or applying certain technologies when producing copper or manufacturing or all those things, we'll be able to do what some of our colleagues are doing to increase production, maybe in agriculture, mechanizations, smart engineering, smart energy, smart energy, smart infrastructure, construction, mining, all those things that working so well with increased technology. So this is what it's going to do for us.
Let's bring
as a
it
country.
down to on a personal level. As a professional, an individual professional, if I am a young graduate and I'm an established engineer in Zambia today, how does our admission to this accord actively, transform my career, in terms of job mobility, recognition, and on the international jobs market?
Imagine getting a degree from UNZA and having 20 years experience, for example, at ZESCO or in the mining, and then you relocate to the USA only to be told you can't touch a machine, you can't operate this machine because we don't trust the source of your education or your experience. So you have to get re-examined or re-evaluated. Imagine that. But the accreditation is going to break down all those barriers. Our engineering professionals, individuals, will be able to practice engineering anywhere across the globe without being re-evaluated. Right now, they have to sit for exams. You have to prove that you know what you're doing. Maybe you go back to second year, which you did at UNZA a long time ago, and you have over 20 years experience. So that is going to come to an end. And for companies, companies will be able to get contracts. You can get a contract in the US. You have an engineering company in Zambia and you get a contract in the US. So the mobility is really great for engineering professionals, and it's really going to break down that barrier.
We're very certain that you're going to successfully defend, and now following that, successful defense that you're going to have at the Washington Accord. What will this, milestone now require systematically? How will this reshape your accreditation, process?
Yeah, so after the defense, and which we're very hopeful is going to be successful, and then comes the admission, which we know we're going to succeed as. We're now going to roll it out to the rest of the country. Remember, we started with three universities as pilot, programs, under the mentorship of the Engineering Council of South Africa, and we had assessors. But once that is successful, it means now we go deep and we roll out to every university, every college, every industry, continuous professional development, everybody practicing, whether you're in the mine, so we have to align all engineering practice for those that are already practicing, and all engineering education standards, we have to align them with the standards that have been set by the IEM.
I know we're getting to the close of this conversation, but when we come to the local universities, how prepared are they, especially when it comes to them transitioning to an outcome-based, education model?
Well, they're so prepared, with the pilot programs that we had. Remember, it's been 4 years. 4 years is a really long time to prepare. There are those that are actually even finishing. That started under the defined new curriculum through our partners that are already in the 4 years. It's been 4 years. So we've transitioned very well. And furthermore, this is a process. It's not something that will be done overnight. No, it's something that's going to be done over a period of time. No wonder it took us 4 years just to get an application, and it's taken us another 6 months just to defend it. It will take us probably another 2 years for us to even start looking at other accords. Like, remember, we're also doing it for technologists and technicians and craftspersons. Those are the ones that are below. So it's a process, and transitioning is going to come over time until we reach standards that will at least be substantially equivalent to those of leading economies like Australia, Canada, China, America, etc.
Finally, as you tell us about dates of when this defense is going to be taking place, what is your message to a Zambian engineer, student engineer, that is practicing, rather that is learning from Zambian institutions?
Well, all I can say is right now we have seen the challenge when it comes to having industry-ready students, and we're bridging that gap between the academia and the industry. So we're pushing for the revision of the Apprenticeship Act so that we can ensure that every graduate has a chance to learn the industry. And the learning of the industry doesn't just start after they complete school, but under the benchmarks that have been set by IEA, the learning and the preparing for the industry begins the moment you step into the classroom. And all I can say is that we are doing this, but as the institution as well, even before this revision is done, we have come up with a huge budget to help the graduates be able to get that experience through from different companies. So we are sponsoring these students when they complete their education to ensure that we make them industry ready, and that's under the Nkhonjera Institution of Zambia budget.
All right, Talasha, thank you very much for having made time to join us. We know we wish you the best of luck between the 8th and the 13th as you go to Cape Town to do what Zambia needs you to do.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, you've been watching Conversations at 1. I just concluded a conversation with EIZ Head of Public Relations, Ntalasha Mtale. My name is Seidlitz Nkhonjera. Join us again tomorrow in the morning for the King's Breakfast Show. Good afternoon.